Hello and welcome to the thing. We're doing a thing. My name is Hans Kim, and I didn't do anything to my hair, and it's just this way. So that's kind of cool. It looks kind of like I did something to it. My physical appearance is something that I value very highly. Yesterday, some woman told me that I smelled like ramen, so that's kind of been bothering me. Um, I feel like it's interesting that people would tell me that. Um, I guess I did go up and talk to her. Um, I smell like ramen. I mean, it's like I guess she wasn't trying at all conversationally, or that maybe she didn't think I was, so she didn't either. But yeah, I mean, after that happened, it was like it's hard to talk about anything other than that with her. And then she did this thing where she's like woo woo, and then she like spun all around me, which I didn't find very respectful or kind. And it's just like I guess like if you go and talk to a woman, then that's kind of a rude thing, so they can be rude back to you. How dare you try to fuck me? I need to use it to make money off the free market or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I think it's fine. You know, it's a free country. You can say what you want. This is some weed I got. That was like one interaction, and it was towards the beginning of the after party after Kill Tony. But that was one interaction, and then like I had a bunch of interactions after that that were positive. But you think about the negative ones so you could do better or hate people more. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to like it's. I guess it's a rude thing to go up and talk to people. So then they're allowed to be rude to you back. I mean, I don't know. Anyways, yeah, I mean, I I think that she was a little crazy. Um, I think it's cool to do the after party thing. After that woman told me I smell like ramen, then I went got some shots with these guys. They were like, "Let's go do shots," and we walked to the bar, and then I started talking to the girls, the women, and then they told me I smell like ramen, and then I went back to get the people who were gonna get me a shot, and then we did a shot together, and then he was talking about how he was having sex with a white girl, he's in a relationship with a white woman, um, and how he never thought that would happen, and that he's now living the life, and how that was like maybe it's like he was a child and he had internalized racism, and he's like, I could never fuck a white woman, which is sad. They're like 70% of the population. I love hotboxing. Not really hotboxing. It's a pretty large open area, so the smoke will probably dissipate in this large room. This is some weed that guy Chris Zam gave me at Kill Tony. He rolled up a joint. He rolled up a bunch of joints. Now I'm smoking it. It's my reward for getting out of bed and doing something with my life. But he's a guy in San Antonio. He shoots a lot of guns. He's ready for shit to go down on a very specific level. Um, um, yeah, so he's a gun guy, and he's apparently a Trump supporter, and he smokes weed. And he was like, "You're gonna have to switch your political stance if you want to go shooting guns with me." And I said, I should have said, "Well, you're gonna switch your political stance if you're gonna smoke weed, buddy." Republicans weren't very nice to weed smokers. You should see what they do to our kind. They jail them for 20 years for just having shit. Yeah, I mean, I was some girl told me I smell like ramen. I mean, obviously that doesn't mean the whole gender of women is bad, or that Americans are rude people who don't really care about each other and respect and foster not trying hard and just your first initial impressions. But yeah, I mean, it's not anything to do with Americans or women. It's probably like has something to do with both, and maybe like whatever, being hot and just like being so tired of people just trying to talk to you all the time. But you know, it's not really that hard to not be tired of talking to people. A lot of people do it. I think it was just like, I don't know, like she was not really trying hard, and she was just being lazy conversationally and in the kindness department. But I don't know, it's just like, if you go and talk to girls, they're like, that's like cause to be mean to you now. You're talking to me. And, you know, it's true, I'm very, very horny. But that's a good thing. I mean, we could all be sexless, but that's a sad world. Hi Hans, how have psychedelics impacted your life? Psychedelics have impacted my life thusly. In the first instance, they gave me an objective perspective on life and a zoomed out lens from which to view things from, so that I wasn't just stuck living my life. I could view it from another angle, another perspective. So it was like the sober self is one way of feeling and going through life, and then being high is another way of going through life, and it informed me about my the pros and cons of different behaviors, so that I could choose the ones that I wanted. And weirdly enough, this is what I chose. To be super boring. I think that the drug war is very bad. I'm glad I'm doing drugs. I don't do drugs too much. I did do mushrooms and smoke a bunch of weed yesterday, but that was after the show. But yeah, maybe I smoked too much weed. But I think it was a good thing tonight. I was just like, it helped motivate me to get out of bed. Because then if I have like happiness lined up, then it's easier to get out of bed. But if you're like, there's nothing, I'm not going to feel good if I get up, then it's like really hard to get up. But since I had this weed, I was like, I know that there's going to be some guarantee of happiness or pleasure or positive emotions if I get up. Everything else is a crapshoot. So it's just interesting. When you smoke, people can't see your eyes. I mean, even when I don't smoke, people can't see my eyes. This is Killjoy. I hate drugs except on weekends and weekdays. In fact, I have a morning playlist and morning weed. I love the process of smoking weed. I think it's cool to be smoking something. I wish that I did it cooler. There's a lot of air when I smoke. But maybe that's good because I don't want to get too much smoke. I don't want to ruin my voice or fuck up my throat. I'm not sure I would call psilocybin experience being high. It's nothing like weed, more like seeing the other dimensions that surround us. I think it's a chemical. It's a chemical or a yeah, it's a chemical in your brain that releases that makes your brain feel different. And depending on the chemical, it has a different effect on your brain. So it's a chemical effect on the brain, and weed is a different chemistry than mushrooms. And I think it's interesting how the different chemicals affect you. You can't smoke weed every day. I can't roll. I need to learn. But yeah, I mean, you could think of it as like seeing the other dimensions that surround us. It's just everything is seeing the other dimensions that are around us, and dimensions are like a scientific thing, or it's not like you can just see more dimensions, but you can have the perception that you're seeing other dimensions. But it's I guess I don't know. I don't see my weed or my psychedelic experiences as like it's like you're tapping into another realm, man. I mean, I know what's happening. I know that it's just chemicals. I don't need to be like, oh, it's so weird and stuff. It's like whatever. Um, Deontay Helm being kind of a dick. Um, I think that, I mean, yeah, I enjoy the experience of psychedelics. I think that it's good, especially if you've done it a lot and then like you don't naturally feel happy, so you got to do the mushrooms to experience happiness. But if you do it the right amount of time, then it's a good reminder of what happiness feels like if you're not experiencing it, so that you can find it when you're sober. So it's just like getting your body used to the feeling of happiness so that you can be more happy later. Um, but I think that being happy is important, having emotions is important, but I don't think that should be your goal. I think if your goal is just to feel a certain way, that's not really uh, intellectually rigorous, or it's not really. It's like the goal of an animal. It's like such a low goal, and maybe we should have a higher goal than like to feel a certain way. Um, I think a more worthwhile goal is to um, achieve a goal intellectually and figure out what you want, and um, yeah, I feel like I want to be successful at comedy and make a positive impact in other people's lives and say things that I think that are important to say that will help people and that are generally positive. I think that's a better goal than to just feel good about yourself. Feeling good about yourself is not a goal. It's like just a indicator. It's a signal. It's like a byproduct of doing the right thing and having like a good intellectual goal and achieving it. Um, yeah. He wants me to touch the thing on the back wall. Did you get it at World Market? This is this is my friend Rachel's house. She bought all this stuff here. Thanks for laughing at my sets on Kill Tony Pod. I'll try to keep doing good jokes. Uh, I think that drugs are good to do. I think they make you think and figure shit out. I think people are afraid of drug use because people's minds are a resource that needs to be controlled for society, for a lot of jobs, for a lot of industries. High pitched sound in the background. Yeah, I mean, I get a lot of hand jobs. Well, I hope there's not too much sound in the background. Maybe I should unplug it and plug it back in, but then I would lose sound for a bit. If you smoked weed, they will not let you join the military because you're harder to brainwash. I think that it's because they are operating from an old way of thinking about things, and they have to have you in like an old way. That's how their brainwashing works, as if they get like a white dude from the 50s, and it's just easier to have a bunch of people in the military that think similarly and have not experienced things, and so that you're there for the first time they experience a lot of crazy shit, and then you can tell them what to think. But not saying that's a bad thing. I think that's how you train a good soldier, and I think that is a good pathway for a lot of human beings that want to be animals. Animals are great. I love animals. It's just like, I think humans can be more than that, but that's a good way because, I mean, the art of being a warrior is very, very awesome and, cool, and it's like very intellectually rigorous in its own way. And it's a great way to use the human body and the mind as a weapon because at least it has a direction. And yeah, I mean, I think it's a cool thing to do. I think it's one of the cooler ways to use a human, as opposed to having it like punch numbers in an Excel sheet. But yeah, I mean, I think I think that that's a cool way to be. I just don't think that it's necessary right now. I think we don't have a system that uses the military very well. And I think that with the internet and all that, there's different ways to do things. And I mean, it's simple and it's easy, and we're always going to need it. But I don't think that there's a very high ceiling in that. I mean, you could be the best warrior and be like Chris Kyle and like write a book, but then you're writing a book and shooting a movie. So why don't you just do that to begin with? But yeah, I mean, joining the military is a definite possibility. I just wouldn't do it now or recommend it to anyone because it's like we don't have a good history of using the military that well. I mean, Vietnam and Iraq. I wouldn't really want to, I mean, unless I was like bloodthirsty and just wanted to do something crazy. But and also just like, I feel like there might be other ways to utilize the human spirit that's more direct and more addressing the issues instead of fixing the bad stuff. I think it might be good to like make something positive, and I think that's the future instead of just getting really good at policing each other. But yeah, I mean, if you had to do it, I think the U.S. military would be cool because it's the best. They have the most money. They have the most equipment. Me more. UFOs are real. UFOs are a topic of discussion sometimes. I love UFOs, I guess. Welcome. Peace is coming, guys. Good, coming, good guys. are in control. Truth is trickling out. Get ready, y'all. You can see the UFOs in the sky. What's your favorite old school meme? I don't remember. I would have to look through a bunch of old school memes. I think UFOs are not a thing. I think if there were no UFO visits in the world, we would have the same number of UFO sightings in the world. I think that there's a lot of false sightings and people wanting to see shit. I don't think they visited. I don't think that they're. I don't think that they're. I don't think that we should rely on them for anything. We should act like they're not there and live our lives, because until we get our technology up and going, they're going to be so far ahead of us that if they don't want to be seen, we're not going to be able to see them. And to think that just like having a telescope in your backyard and like recording shit is going to catch them out, I don't think that's going to happen. But yeah, I mean, I think it's good to do that shit for other reasons. Maybe catch an asteroid streaking across the sky. I don't think filming the sky is a bad thing. I think the more data we have, the better. But yeah, I mean, UFOs, it's all masturbation. It's like, you can't really say anything one way or the other. And it's like, I heard. You just like start telling like stories. And then you just start like making shit up. Like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if they were like, they'd visited before? But yeah, I mean, it's cool to imagine and just have an imagination contest. But there's plenty of real world situations that we can have a more solid premise for instead of like the general concept of UFOs. UFOs, USG. Yeah, I mean, if they're doing their best, good on them. I hope that they figure it out. It's just like, what are we supposed to do? Just like come up with different theories until they show up, and like it's just an exercise in like how crazy your imagination can be. So if you want to have that, that's fine. Like take a fiction writing class and write a sci-fi story, make it like a useful thing. Your imagination. If you're just gonna imagine UFOs and tell like shitty stories about it, but if you don't actually concretely do something about your imagination, and you just use it to like have boring conversations and like tell long stories where people aren't allowed to interrupt, then I don't think that it's a useful use of your imagination. I think you're wasting it. And I think like they use the fact that it might be real to then not really be that imaginative. They're like coming up with crazy stories, but with not like not that much creativity, because they're like, the fact that it might be real is supposed to carry the weight of it not being that interesting. But yeah, I mean, until it actually happens, I don't think that there's a reason to worry about it. And I think that it's better to come up with sci-fi stories and usefully use your imagination, and maybe help like come up with a new idea for the future that can inform us of how to build things, like how the space shuttles were like, they took some ideas from like movies where they're like, oh, that would be convenient if it opened like that, or something like that happened. I'm sure. I think I read it somewhere or heard it somewhere. But yeah, I mean, like, think about what like our technology in the future could do, or like what an alien meeting could look like, and make a cool movie like Interstellar, or that other one, Gravity or something. But yeah, to just use it to like dominate conversation and try to fascinate people at dinner parties. I guess that's an art form, but I feel like a lot of those people are very lazy artists, and they don't really want to commit. They want to do something that's not really art, not really science. It's both, but neither. And I think that's like a type of person that exists who's just like whatever, who's like not gonna do anything. Checking my phone. How's what are you guys up to? Can you give us some thoughts on Adele canceling a residency show? I mean, she's an artist. Uh, she's an artist, and maybe she had to like take a day off and like reconfigure and figure her shit out. What is the best art form for dinner conversations? I would say the best art form for dinner conversations is probably um, the human interest piece. Like, oh, you do that for a living. And what do you do when a 596 runs into a 747? And, like actually being interested in people and trying to be like a good interviewer, like a talk show host. And you let someone else talk, and then you might maybe have a joke over it, and then you let other people be the guest show host. I would say it's a better way to do it. I would say the worst way to do it is try to tell the longest stories possible, and not let anyone else talk. Just try to talk for as long as possible, and try to make it really rude for people to talk over you by having like a higher energy level, and always ending your sentences with a conjunction, so that every time you take a breath, you say something like that. Oh my God, I'm so bad at that. Are you a Jordan Peterson fan? I'm not really a Jordan Peterson fan. He did this one thing where he was like, I'm doing a lecture series on how to live like with the Bible, like how the Bible tells us how to live, or like how it predicts things in the future. And it's like, why are you using the Bible? Um, why don't you just use any other book? Like, I mean, I'm sure the Bible is, important to a lot of people, but I wouldn't say it's really a great self-help book, or like, it's just old, and like old people had some wisdoms that we can tap into. But I feel like in a book that far away, the impact is very limited. And I think just the fact that it has a lot of significance and like traditional backing, I think that it helps a lot more people than it really should on its own merit. But I guess like there's some good stuff in there, like "Thus saith the Lord," parable of the two fish and the loaves of bread. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of Jordan Peterson, because he's just like trying to defend the way things are right now. And I think that we need to not do things the way we're doing right now and how we did it in the 1776s. I think that maybe we should have like a continually updating system of governing people, instead of just like sticking to one thing really, really good. I think it's better to evolve and, advance government, the science of government, than to be really faithful and loyal to the way things were when it first started, in honor of these dead people. All that, no one is alive to be honored by that. They're dead. But yeah, I mean, I think it's like a preservation of power thing, the way that power sits right now, and how they arranged it when they first fucking flew over on the Mayflower, floated on over. I think they're just like, this is the way we want it. We like the way things are now, and we don't want to change the hierarchy. Like, we want to keep it the way it is. We don't want any upsetting of the balance. and we're going to try to keep it that way for as long as possible. And I think he's just like a guy that's just like, I want to keep things the way they are. I want power to be where it is right now. It's a good place. We just have to hold on and try a little harder. I think it's, I mean, how do you not see like a straight white guy advocating for a system that is advantageous to straight white guys and be like, I think like it's just your self-interest. Like of course that's what you want. Like, obviously. But yeah, I mean, what about everyone else? But I think that he is very good at thinking about a lot of different other things. I think he's good at making points and being succinct or not succinct. I heard he went on a lot of tangents on the podcast, the JRE today. But he's really good at like making a point and like emotionally delivering a point and like putting words to ideas. How do you feel about guns? Like everyone have a gun in case the government does fail. Everyone should have a gun. When I was on benzos. How do you feel about guns? Like, should everyone have a gun in case the government does fail? If the government does fail, a gun would help. But instead of everyone buying a gun, why don't we make sure the government doesn't fail? If we're going to do anything. If I could, like, force anyone to do everything. Don't drink the Kool-Aid, Hans. There's much more to the story. What are we going to do without men? I don't know. Probably the same thing that we do on average as a human race. Both male and female, just without any of the highs and the extremes and lows. I think guns are cool. I think it's cool to live in a world where you can have ultimate power. And I think it's good to be able to fuck other people up in case they step on your turf and make sure that they don't walk again. I think that's all cool. I think it's a good way to say, hey, we trust you. Here's the power to kill people. Don't use it unless you have to. I think that's a cool idea that we live in a country that's like all about the individual and not really about the whole group. And you can come here and accentuate your individualness. I mean, everyone having a gun is what is keeping the government from descending into tyranny. So every country that bans gun is now a tyrannical government. I mean, all of Europe pretty much bans guns. Eastern Asia bans guns. Oceania. I would say that America is a very rich country. I would say that maybe European countries and East Asian countries are more stable governments that actually take care of their people better. And I think tyranny is like a small group of people withholding resources from everyone else, and the people suffering because of that. So, I mean, we have guns and we don't do shit with them. We just fucking play around with them and then let Walmart fucking pave over our fucking homes. So what use is a gun if you're too stupid to know how to use it and to not understand the problem? I mean, we got Walmart, we got like Purdue Pharmaceutical selling opioids. We have guns. They sold drugs right to our face and got us addicted. And I mean, it doesn't matter if you have a gun if your mind is compromised and addicted. But yeah, I mean, opioids, corporations have fucked over America in terms of like cities layouts and how like they wanted everything to be about cars, so they destroyed public transit and they made highways, giant highways going everywhere so that you would need a car to get around. And plus white people didn't want to live with black people, so they started moving to the suburbs and needed a way to get in and out quickly. And so it made it impossible to navigate your city if you didn't own a car, which is a barrier to entry. It's $10,000 plus gas plus mechanic fees. So we let corporations like car companies fuck us over, even though we had guns. It's like, and we settled for a labor, rights that weren't that very good. We have less labor rights than most other European or East Asian countries, and we don't have health care. We have guns, and we didn't do anything about that. Like, guns are just like a tool or like a prop or like a toy. Like, what really affects change is like organizing, politics, bargaining, and putting concessions or taking concessions or something, and like doing shit. Yeah, so it's like guns don't really help us, so we just need to actually do shit. We need to fucking, use our guns or probably our voices and change the society we live in to make it better for us, the people, not just a small group of billionaires. But yeah, I mean, guns are great. We should all get guns, but we should also like fucking use our power, use our real power, and it's not to kill each other. Our real power is to work and produce and make awesome shit, and then we can withhold that labor, and we can actually get the resources that we work for. We can have more money, less time working, more time inventing shit, more time doing things you actually want to do, and then making the world a better place, because maybe you're not good at woodworking now, but then you're going to come up with a design in the future that's going to save people a lot of wood, or it's going to be awesome. The world's going to be a better place because now there's a new type of chair. Crappy music videos, maybe that can speak to someone and inspire them to invent something. But yeah, I mean, guns are great. I just wish that we used all our other powers too. Face tattoos. I mean, I feel like the mumble rap type shit is just like our slide into our subconscious, because our conscious mind is too fraught with troubles and sadness. So we're like, oh no, look at the world. The world is so sad. I don't want to be awake and aware. I would rather be like and not really paying attention and kind of nodding off and not participating. But yeah, everything is bad. Life sucks. The world is terrible. I think that it's crazy that, I went to New York recently. New York is cool. New York has a lot of people in it. I think that New York was a cool city. I think that New York, there was a fun time there. The first night I arrived, I had a show at the Stand. I went to the Stand. There was Derek Gaines. I went up last. I went up dead last, which is not a great spot. But I went up there. I did all right. A lot of other people did a lot better, and it kind of made me insecure. But it was a good time. The audience was great. I had an all right set. I had a good time. And then I went home, and then I recorded a podcast with Misha Shakur. I stayed at his house. I left my toothbrush there and my retainer. And then I went home, and then I recorded a podcast with Misha Shakur. I stayed at his house. I left my toothbrush there and my retainer. And then I went home, and then I recorded a podcast with Misha Shakur. I stayed at his house. I left my toothbrush there and my retainer. And then on the last day, we filmed a little thing where we walked around Times Square and we tried to interview people. And I would be like, "Hey, where are you from?" And then they would like walk away. So I got like a lot of videos of people just like walking away and being sad. Mark Normand was on the show. Um, yeah, I mean, I did a show at Brooklyn Comedy Club. It was a cool little venue. I loved it. Um, yeah, I had a good set there. That was probably my favorite set of the trip. I had a good set at Williams' show in Jeffersonville, Pennsylvania, right outside Philadelphia. That was fun. Jeffersonville was great. It was like a club. It's a golf club, and it's a giant room. They got a bar on the far side. They have like a fake wall, and there were like 300 people, 200 people, and it was like a great big like it was like a bar mitzvah almost feeling, and it was just like a banquet hall, and it's like a lot of white people in nice chairs looking at you. And did comedy in front of them. They were great. They were a great audience. They laughed. They were easy to laugh. Um, it was fun, and William did great. Ryan Joseph did great. Um, no person alive in the U.S. is denied medical treatment if necessary. That is a fact. Okay. Well, I can show you a couple news stories where that definitely happened. Like a kid that couldn't afford diabetes medication, insulin, so he died. And it's just like, it's not going to happen as much. We still live in a modern society, but it's going to happen more in America than most other countries. But yeah, I mean, it's like we have a healthcare system that we don't care about, where we purposely are like, we're not gonna fucking make sure it's good, so people are gonna die. Like, why would they not die? You did no work to make sure that they wouldn't die. It's like not doing your homework and then being like, why would I get a bad grade? You didn't do any of the work necessary to make sure people don't die. You clearly were like, I'm not gonna give a fuck about this. I'm gonna spend the least amount of money on healthcare, and then people will figure it out. Why we would have the healthcare system that produces the most deaths. We did the least amount of work to make sure we have a good healthcare system. We purposely prevent ourselves from fixing our healthcare system. So more people are going to die unnecessarily, and that's just the choice we made. But yeah, I mean. But yeah, I mean, I think that healthcare is pretty cool. I think it'd be cool if we lived in a world where you show up and then we just take care of you, give you the best body we can, just feed you, just give you a lot of shit. And then you're an adult, you know a lot, you did exactly what you want to do in life, you're happy, you're emotionally satisfied, and you're also intelligent, and then you go out into the world and you do awesome shit, like a fucking, World of Tomorrow, or like like that one with George Clooney, Tomorrowland. It's just like an awesome world, and if you show up, we fucking take care of you, and then we hope you do your best and give you all the tools necessary to do the best. I think that's very possible. I think that would be a better society to live in than one that deprives you of resources to get you to work harder and makes you grow up in the ghetto and poor and sad and lonely. And it's like, well, if you want to get out of this, here's a ball. Get really good at this. Yeah, but I think it's cool that a lot of people want to come to America, and it's like a cool thing to be in America. And it's like where the world happens. Everywhere else, it's like not really. You're just like the side characters. Like you're not even the main characters of the time that you're in. Who knows if the time that you're in is gonna be worthy But if it is, it's going to be stuff that happens in America. And it's like, if you're not even in the right country, then you definitely don't stand a good chance of making it into the history books and being immortal. So if you're not in America, you're a loser. Just kidding. Yeah, I mean, American exceptionalism, like we destroy every country with coups, and then their art form suffers, and we flood their market with our shitty movies and art, and then they can't develop their own scene, and then we're like, oh look, we're dominating the world, we're keeping them back, and our shitty art will not be remembered because whatever. Yeah, hopefully we don't ruin our immortality and our contribution to time and our species by trying to defeat each other in the present. Instead of like trying to make something awesome that people will respect in the future, we're just trying to beat each other and trying to like steal from each other so that we can shout out our voice into eternity, which happens to be a bleeding goat's cry, because we don't make good art because we didn't get it correctly. We cheated and we fought and we hurt other people, and then we make art, and then it's like whatever because we were trying to win on a very small scale instead of like the larger scale, and then it turns out like even if you win in that realm in the short term, like you can still lose overall. But yeah, I mean, I wish we had a better society so we can make better art. I don't think that our society, the way that we think, is very healthy. I think that there's a lot of like aggression and violence and might is right mentality and bullying that is the norm in our society, and then we make art that's just like derivative and shitty, just like the base level that all these bullies and evil people can relate to, instead of something more nuanced and complex, because half of us are destroying the rainforest or okay with that happening, and minorities dying in the street. So we have to make movies that are just like, good is good, bad is evil. Look, this good guy, he has cool shirt. Look at his cool outfit. He's gonna fight bad guy, and bad guy's winning. Oh, but then good guy wins, yay! That's the kind of stories that That's the kind of stories that we tell because we're stupid. But yeah, I mean, I think that's good that we create good art too. Last good movie, Downfall, a German movie. I'm sure there was a good movie recently. Inception, etc. Transformers, Captain Marvel, whatever. I don't think those are good movies. But yeah, I mean, we did make Citizen Kane and Gone with the Wind. But yeah, I mean, I have nothing to compare it to, so maybe I'm just being negative and being like, oh, the world that I happen to be in sucks. It's not my fault. But I find a lot of solace in blaming the correct things and not torturing myself for my imperfections when there's nothing I can do to fix it, because it's not really something that I can fix all the time. Sometimes it is the force larger than ourselves that is broken, and so if you can just admit it and like excise it like a surgeon and find out exactly where your faults are and where everyone else's faults are, then you don't torture yourself and get depressed because you feel sad for no reason, because you know the reason why you feel sad, and you know what you need to work on, which is a never-ending task. But yeah, I mean, it's it's also fun to, like, what are the chances that the society that you're born in is going to be perfect? I mean, it's some of it's not going to be great. So to just be like, everything is my fault and I need to work really hard is the mentality of people in a broken system. I think that's how the broken system continues, because then people don't actually address their root issues. They just fucking torture themselves and go crazy trying to fix something that isn't broken. I mean, like a lot of like strippers or like a lot of like people who are strung out in a motel in Detroit or like Lansing. Like, I don't think that they are that they're weak. I think that they were put in a situation where like 70% of people are gonna fall, and like, what are you gonna do if you're in that situation? And I think that to make it out is good, and we should motivate people to get out of that situation. But if you really cared about that person, you would make sure that they were never in that position to begin with, and to provide them a place to live where they have a higher success rate. The higher the success rate, the better. And I think that we don't do that because we don't care, and we want to preserve the way power is right now. We're like, these people know what they're doing. I want them to lead us. Don't give anything to anyone else. Just keep it the way it is, because things are going fine right now, and these people are doing a great job. That can be perfect as you make it. Why are you blaming society? Because society needs to be constantly improved and bettered. And if you don't better it, then it's going to get worser. And if it gets worser, then people are going to be sadder. So it helps to improve society. Society is great to improve. Hey Hans, I'm from Georgia, and I know you went to Georgia Tech, right? Oh, you miss Georgia? I do miss Georgia. What a great state. They have a lot of large highways, which are annoying. They used the Texas handbook on how to build a highway and just built like a fucking 7-lane monstrosity right through the city center. I used to live in the North Avenue apartments, which looked directly over that highway. And for like 6 months, they blocked my window with plywood because they were doing construction. And it was hard to live without windows. You don't realize it, but windows are great. And when they block it out, it's really, really sad. But yeah, Georgia's great. I mean, I don't really like a lot of the way that American cities are designed. Atlanta is great. The people are great. They're warm and friendly. They have good food, southern shit. Um, but yeah, I mean, Georgia's fun. I like Georgia. I'm having a good time. Uh, I love good southern accent. Okay, girl, Southern Peach. A lot of pretty girls. It was a beautiful campus. It's just like people are nice there. It's just nice. People are trustworthy and kind, and you know, they're doing their best, and they mean well, and it was just a good place to be. Um, how's the dating show going? The dating show is going good. I'm just gonna keep doing it. It's a fun thing to do. I don't really have to prepare at all. Um, and it's a good time. I think I hope to get better at it. Um, I think there's some really high highs on that show. I just want to keep doing it. I think the more I do it, the better it'll get. There's been a good crowd the last couple times. I think it's increasing in audience. And I think that if I keep doing it, it'll be fun. And I want to have a good time doing it. Um, and it's fun to talk to people. It's fun to like go for the joke and like express yourself through jokes and like say what you want to say and offer your perspective and observations in a humorous way and have it be received well. And just like work on that muscle and just learn how to talk to people. Can you give some insight on what it's like in the green room before Kill Tony? That is, if you have a green room setting in the first place. Land of the Goat, I definitely have a green room setting. The green room is very cool. It's a great dynamic. If you haven't been in a green room, you're not going to know what it's like. There's a very clear hierarchy and a power dynamic going on. It's all about positivity. Tony wants to be in a good mood. I think that everyone's trying to keep the mood positive and no one's trying to drag it down. No one is demanding more attention than they deserve. Everyone knows their place and everyone is trying to do their part. And it's just a good vibe. It's very structured and very safe, and it's the social hierarchies and the way that we communicate is very, very interesting, and I think that that's why our brains are so complex, and you're just constantly like figuring out where you stand and like what you can get away with saying and trying to make the mood positive, and like there's no negative people that are just trying to make it shitty because they're insecure or they're sad or something. So it's just good. It's just cool. Yeah. So basically, it's like a job. It's like a job where you can say fuck and shit and chink and wetback. So yeah, it's just like your job. But yeah, there's like a more fun atmosphere. There's not like a weird sort of like, oh, we can't have that emotion. It's very emotionally intelligent and very emotionally high highs and low lows. It's just a different yeah, I don't know what I was saying. It's not a job. It's fun, it's a good time. It's interesting. Have I grown a pair yet? Have you grown a pair? Zachary Bennett. What's your YouTube page look like? Although the blue guy banned someone for having a reasonable disagreement. Well, I hope the ban was worthy. I wasn't a part of the decision-making process. I've been meeting a lot of people after the show. That's fun. People are generally nice, unless they're telling you you smell like ramen. Oh my god. How much dollar we got, Hans? I have like almost 20K now. I'm pretty close to 20K, which is the first time in my life that I've hit 20K, so that's a good thing. I'm just saving it up. I'm living in this place for free. I get a lot of free food. I barely spend any money. I mean, I'm getting a lot of money from my shirts and my stickers. I should go sell them more. Would you do man on the street style interviews? You would kill it. I have done it. I should do it more. It's just like when you're opening yourself up to people on the street, it's not always fun, and I don't really know if I want to expose myself like that. But generally, it's a good thing, and it can be fun. I just, yeah, I mean, I'll do it, fine. No, I love doing it. Um, Wish I could get to Texas to see y'all live. Love you, Hans. Yeah, I mean, tickets are pretty cheap. I flew to New York for $30. It could have been $60 round trip. But yeah, money is great. I love having the money. I love relaxing, sort of, and being able to go anywhere I want and do anything I feel like doing, and not being so stressed out when I lose shit because I can just buy another thing. But yeah, I mean, I think it's great to do a lot of different things. Let's see. So I think that we should try to have a time where we all like go vote for the correct things. Apparently a road rager shot 2 motorists last night at 290 and William Cannon in Austin. Y'all be careful out there, says this Reddit guy. I love Austin. Austin's a good city. I think that we could really fix a lot of problems and stuff. So Dan Crenshaw, I think that he likes the way things are for obvious reasons, and he wants to keep it that way. I think that a lot of his solutions for society's woes wouldn't actually work. And I think that he's a very good talker. He's good at talking. You need to have a kid and then question what you have to offer to the world. I mean, Ricky Gervais doesn't have children, and he's still making Afterlife, which I heard mixed reviews about. I mean, having kids is a great way to think about things, but I don't think it's the only way. I think there's lots of different ways to think about things. I would love to have kids. I think it's a great biological trick to play on yourself, and it gets you a lot of insight into life and stuff. But I think it's kind of weird to have a kid for self-improvement and as an exercise and just to like improve your life. I would like to do it for less selfish reasons. And I would love to do it soonish. I mean, I do have 20K, so I could probably keep a baby alive for like 2 years. I have no idea. But yeah, I mean, once you have a baby, you get entered into the system. They can fuck with you then. They can hold your baby hostage. And I live in a van. I would love to have a kid in a van. I think it's very possible. I think that if you get caught with a kid in a van, it's probably not great. I think people try to fuck with you then. I think that's kind of fucked up, because just because you live in a van doesn't mean it's a shitty van, or that your baby's in any danger. Like, there was a dad who was camping with his children, and someone called the cops on him. Because they're like, I don't think they have heat in there. And like, when you have kids, it just opens you up to like just get fucked with. But yeah, I mean, can I raise a child in a van? I mean, if I had to, if it was like the road, obviously it'd be better in a house. So then I'd have to get that. I'd have to pay like however much a month. It would take a lot of time away from comedy, so I wouldn't be able to work as much. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's the right move right now. But yeah, I mean, I think that if you have a nice van, you should be allowed to have a baby. Yeah, you're at a higher risk for the baby dying than if you lived in a home. Just because like you might run over it or like it might fly out the window. It's just like less safe. But I mean, if you're doing that, like what about someone who's living, like with a lower salary, or like living in the ghetto, or like, you know, in between houses or something. It's like if it's the lifespan of the baby, or like the infant mortality rate that you're worried about, then put it in the calculator and be like, oh, we did the math, and it turns out van lifers have a 2% chance of killing their babies. But this other woman who's like, I don't know, like poor and stupid, and her IQ is really low, and she's like not really taking care of herself. Her baby has a 3% chance that it won't survive. So we're gonna nuke this person's baby, and then this other person's baby, the van lifer's baby, we're gonna let it grow. Like, do the math, figure it out. If it's actually that dangerous, don't just be like, it just looks wrong. That's not where you're supposed to have a baby. Like, give me the numbers. I don't want to just hear people be like, well, what did you expect? You raised a kid in a van. But then like there's a bunch of reasons babies die, and when it dies in a home, you're like, well, you can never really predict these things, and sometimes it happens. I'd rather not rely on just like village gossip, although village gossip can be a helpful tool to maybe keep your eye out on the data that comes in. I think that plug in the numbers and figure out how likely it is that this baby will die, and make a educated guess instead of just going by how it looks. Like, some vans are really nice, and they're going to be outdoors. Like, are we going to prescribe that every baby has to live in a house and like have to drive everywhere, and have to like live in a suburb that's a food desert, and they have to live this life where their mom has to take them everywhere they go? And yeah, and then they can't walk anywhere, and then if they do walk alone, the cops get called, and every child has to live this certain life. um or are you gonna let them live in a van and like go surfing every day, and like visit different national parks, and like just live a different lifestyle? We all have to live this lifestyle. That doesn't seem like the land of the free. And living in a van doesn't necessarily mean it's dangerous. If you have all the safety equipment, and you take care of your baby, you should be able to live in a van or a motorhome or an RV. Will you ever stop saying the word chink, Hans? Will you? I mean, you typed it out. Now that's on the government's watch list. Chink, I don't think it has the cultural impact that the word N-word does. I almost said it. Or the faggot word, or the retard word. So I think it's cool. Like, not a lot of people say it, but if you do say it in like a heightened situation, then the impact is the same as the N-word. So it's just like a matter of context. But chink, I think I think that it is a word to describe Asians, and it's used in very negative connotations a lot of times. So maybe people have a negative association with that word. But I try not to avoid emotions or fear or like unpleasant situations. Like, yeah, I mean, I don't try to like just not think of Asians as like sometimes in the worst possible light. I think sometimes some Asians are seen in that light. And yeah, I mean, I obviously try not to associate Asians negatively with anything, but I think that because I actually respect the culture, that uh, to me, saying chink doesn't take anything away from Asian culture, which I think is superior to American culture in many ways. I guess I'm Korean American. I do see the advantages of the American culture, but yeah, chink. I think it's better to um, say it ironically and have like a distanced relationship with that word than to never say it and have like this forbidden, like Ill- illegal sort of like feeling towards a word, and then when it gets said, then it destroys your whole world because you never said it and someone else is the first one to say it. So I think it's better that we internalize the chink. No, you definitely shouldn't internalize the chink and the worst ways of seeing our race. But I think that it's good to have that battle to be like, oh, I'm feeling negatively towards Asian people and like what that means. And I gotta remember the positive parts. And I think that if you do that a lot, then you can have a positive feeling towards a race. Better than if you just avoid all negative and negative stereotypes about that race. Yeah, I think it's a much more deeper respect and love for the race to be able to say chink and like understand what people mean by that word, and then to also have respect for it, than to just have blind respect and not see the negative side of being Asian, but only the positive, and not have a realistic view of being Asian. What will the white people think of affirmative action ending when the colleges are all Asian? Yeah, I mean, if it's purely merit based, maybe like everyone's gonna be Asian in colleges. Um, I think that it's a socioeconomic thing. So I think we need to get white people and black people and white people to be richer. Then I think that they'll get higher SAT scores. Um, but that takes a lot more money and is a more delayed response. So for a while, Asians are going to be dominating Ivy Leagues, and we're just going to be all over the place. Um, but it's going to be fine. Someone has to do that shit. I mean, what do you not want to reward people for working hard? You want to be like, yeah, you work too hard. We're going to take some of this away. What's your take on Son Hung Min? Song Hun Min? Song Hun Min? Song Hong Hyung? I don't know who that is. Song Hun Min. Oh, he's a soccer player. He's the one that like does something with his hands. I think he's great. I think he shows. Oh yeah, he does the little camera thing or the TV thing with his hands. I think he's a great soccer player, and he expresses himself very well. He is Korean. He shows off that Koreans can, be athletically competitive, and that the culture of Koreanness is able to produce awesome athletes, and that he's great at expressing himself in that way. I just think sports is pretty limited. All you can really say is try really hard and shoot really fast and work really hard again. It's like it's a pretty limited, spectrum of output that you can put out there. And do it even if it's hard. I mean, I think sports is great. I think it's good to do. I think it makes an awesome person, like being a warrior does. But yeah, I mean, I think that it's better to like actually say stuff and use your words, which you could do after you do soccer, but like why don't you just do it right away? But there should be someone that does soccer. I just wish that like the people that did soccer then went on to do other stuff that was actually like useful. But yeah, it's cool to watch the highlight reels and to feel the excitement that comes from it. Yeah, I mean, I love soccer. I don't mean to talk shit about athletes. I just wish that we had a different way of valuing stuff. I think athletes are important, but not that important. My question is, are you also an excellent multitasker? I try not to. I can sing some Korean songs. Um, yeah, I mean, I want to make like a movie about how like there's so many Marvel movies, and then just like, like someone that's like sick of it and like how it's everywhere, and then like I don't know what I want to do. So yeah, I mean, Kill Tony yesterday went pretty good. I had a good time. I love the interview part. Um, I think that the set went all right. I wish I did better. I kind of had some new jokes that I wanted to try, but then I went with an old joke instead. And I kind of regret it. I kind of wish I did like my artistically pure set. But that's the good thing about being a regular is that I have all these opportunities to try and do different things. And I wish, yeah, maybe I'll stick more with my gut and do things that I like to do. Uh, but yeah, Kill Tony was fun. I watched some of that episode. I skipped out on a lot of it. I wish I could have watched, but there's so much shit happening in that room. I think Kill Tony is so much fun. I can't wait for it. And there's a party, and I just get to meet a bunch of people, and like there's a lot of positive emotions. A lot of people say nice things to me. And there's like everyone like seems to like me. And that's like the place where like I get the most positive feedback and emotion, so it's pretty fun for me. Um, and it's sort of like I'm a celebrity there, so I try to take advantage of that. Um, I have a good time. Um, then after the show, some people are mean, some people are nice. But yeah, I mean, I try to get to know people because I am interested in people, right? I think so. But yeah, I mean, it's fun to just socialize and stuff like that. But hopefully, more things can happen than just socializing, maybe sexualizing. They say the hottest part of a flame is at the tip. A lot of people try to light it down here, but this is actually the hottest part because heat rises, I guess. But yeah, I mean, Kill Tony is such a great experience for me. I'm really glad that I get to do it. I I think I was supposed to. Well, I wasn't supposed to do shit. I was hoping that I would get to open for Rogan today, but it doesn't look like it's happening. Which is fine, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be demanding, but I really, really enjoy doing it. And I also don't want to lose that either. So maybe it's good to be jealous, but maybe not. Um, so Chrissy's calling. Let me answer on the podcast. What's up? You're on the podcast. No one.
Oh. I just wanted to say, like, are we good?
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess, should I just talk about it later then?
Where are you?
At the house?
Oh, how
Are
long do
you
you
at your
have?
house?
Yep.
I thought that maybe you'd be waiting to go on stage at 8 o'clock or something like that.
Yeah, it could have been. It usually starts at 8:30, so this would have been a fine time to
Oh.
call. But yeah, Joe didn't call me. Um, yeah, I mean, why didn't you give me a
You said
ride?
Joe? Oh, you mean Joe Rogan didn't call you?
Yeah. I
So
mean,
he
is
usually
it really
calls
that
you?
big a deal to give me a ride from the downtown to like 15
Wait,
minutes
first, wait.
north?
Does he call you and talk on the phone verbally?
Not all the time. He did it once. Usually Tony texts me.
Whoa.
Sometimes Joe texts me.
Yeah, that's usually what it would do. Yeah, does he sound like his podcast? He's like, oh, I don't even know what he would sound like. Hey, Hans? Yeah, that's cool.
Yep. Why didn't you want to give me a ride
No.
to my
Well, I
apartment?
was only just telling you. I didn't even say like, oh my God, fuck you. Like, absolutely not. I didn't even say that. I just said like, hey, I'm, that those are both too far away locations, and I'm like really struggling. So I don't know about that.
Well, it's just
And then
your
you were like,
typical
hey, fuck
attitude of
you.
like, oh my God, I have to do things for you now. Don't you think that I'm more important
No,
than you? It's just like
it's
you're
not
not
even
willing
that.
to
It's
do
like,
anything for anyone else.
are you serious? Do you think that about me?
I do now.
I cleaned a little bit.
Really?
Yeah, I did.
Nice. This is almost.
Yeah, but y'all ran out of toilet paper over there, I think.
Yeah, I'm about to.
Um,
Did you do the
no.
laundry?
Yeah, I did my laundry,
Did you do
but
my
it's like,
laundry?
it didn't, like, those clothes, I started to realize that maybe that's why they were in there. But I didn't
Okay.
know, because I think you don't smell, I guess. Like, it didn't smell like, if they were my clothes, you would have smelled them, like, from 6 feet away, you know?
Yeah.
Dirty clothes.
Sorry that I'm so clean and beautiful.
But, like, oh my God. Uh, Jesus. But, like, you could have convinced me. I was just, like, telling you that, I mean, it's, like, it's tough stuff right now, and, like, that would be a big deal to, like, drive all over the place and stuff. So I was just telling you that. But then, and I asked Sam, and he said everything was fine. Like, he was like, no, I'm going to be near the airport, and, like, it's going to be good, you know?
Yeah.
So it's
But
not even a big deal. And I
okay.
just feel like you got mad. And when you sent me that last angry text, I was, like, in kind of a bad place to get that text. So I got hurt.
Yeah.
But
Apparently, you're like
what'd you say?
struggling. You're like struggling, right? You can't go to the doctor.
Dude, I mean, I don't know if you remember when I told you, like, wow, I found a stable sugar daddy. He's, like, so perfect or whatever. Like, I told you that. He, last night, was supposed to meet with me after Kill Tony, and he, like, ghosted me. And
Yeah.
like, that's something that kind of keeps happening with him, which is basically, yeah, he doesn't like me, I guess.
That's too bad.
And he hasn't paid me at all. Like, I've only gotten $200 since I got here, and that just goes immediately into, like,
Why don't you do Uber Eats?
yeah, like, it's like a yearly resolution. I want to stop, spending all of my, it's a crazy trade for, like, a whole hour of your time.
Yeah.
Your time for, like, a little bit of money.
Yeah.
But, like, I'm working on it. Like, this guy here is about to come home, and, like, for after a week away, and I'm gonna, like, show him my bank like, notice at some point.
Okay. You got props.
What?
You got a prop. You do
Yeah.
a PowerPoint presentation.
I'm just gonna be like, damn, look at this, and like it's gonna be like my bank. Somebody else was telling me that I should file for bankruptcy, like that it's not even a big deal.
Yeah.
To just file
Well,
for bankruptcy. They were like, it's completely easy, and I guess you probably
yeah.
don't have debt.
Nope. My parents
So,
paid for my
anyways,
college.
you what?
Yeah, well, I'll see you around. I
Are you mad though? Like, I said hi to you yesterday, and you like, um, looked at me like you were mad a little bit.
yeah, I was a little
So,
mad at you.
are you still mad? I would give you like, especially if my gas tank, especially if I like was able to have money for gas, I would give you rides. Like, you know, I could
Well, I
easily
guess I'm
go
really
over there.
sensitive.
What?
I guess I was really sensitive or something.
Yeah, I mean, you were in New York. It's cold. Maybe you were working hard, like walking around.
Yeah, I mean, I just it's difficult to hear like
You're also on my podcast. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry. Sorry.
yeah. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I'll see you later, and I'm sure that we'll see each other soon.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye. Have a good
Bye. Good night. Yeah, I mean, I maybe shouldn't have done that. But I guess I got my feelings hurt because she wouldn't come pick me up, and it was just like, oh my god, what? It's just like she immediately made it like analytical. Like, what am I getting out of this? And like, it's like that's just not a good like mindset that I want to like think about my friends in. I don't want her to or to my for my the people around me or my friends to be like, um, I want her to be like, oh no, it's like a thing. It's like, are we doing math constantly? And like, it's just like, it like kind of like made me think about the relationship that we have in a different way. And it just made me feel like gross and like cheated. And, yeah, I mean, I guess like also there's like a lot of, my friends tell me like that I should be more careful or something. So yeah, I mean, I feel like it was just a bad situation for our friendship, and I think like Christy's very honest and stuff, so she sometimes. I've never. So it's like she's just like sometimes things come up when dealing with Christy that wouldn't with other people, but whatever. Um, I yeah, I mean I think that Christy is a very interesting person, and she's very honest, and sometimes that's refreshing. I feel like she had almost no gas and no money to get more than she should have openly said that to you, in which the ball would have been in your court to offer gas money or not get the ride. I agree with you, Lando the Goat. But I just thought it'd be interesting to bring it up just because it's like something that happens not just with Christy and me, but with a lot of different people. And I'm going to try to handle it correctly, and I could use like an outside perspective and use the presence of an outside perspective to maybe gain perspective on what's happening and maybe not get too bent out of shape about it. I think that I think it's great to get in a lot of different situations and learn how to do things differently. I think it's I think it's interesting. I'm not going out tonight, apparently. Um, I might be getting a little horny. I texting women, but yeah. I mean, I love different things that happen with friendships. Um, I think that I think it's good to talk to people and stuff. I I think that some things on the news, Ukraine and Russia and America, and we're like, don't fucking invade Ukraine, and then America's like, we're gonna invade you if you invade Ukraine. People are like, Trump. If Trump was in office, this would never happen. Yeah, because we all know how much Trump was respected. There's a reason why Russian people and meme bots were trying to get Trump elected, because that destabilizes America. Like Trump having been in office for 4 years and our botched response to coronavirus puts us not in a great position um, to deal with this. We have lost a lot of credibility, and people aren't going to listen to us when we talk. So now our only option is violence. Or now the option is lessened for negotiation and politics. Yeah, I mean, if Trump was in office, what is Trump going to do that Biden isn't also willing to do? Biden is willing to do every warmongering thing that Trump would have done. Um, I I don't see Trump as being an advantage in this situation or in any situation. It's surprising that you have to say that, but yeah, I mean, Trump is not a good president. He doesn't do good shit. He's not good at the job. And yeah, I mean, he's not a good president. He's not a good person. Yeah, I mean, Ukraine, it's like they're going to invade Ukraine, and obviously we hate that. We don't want that. Um, I think that we should try to avoid war. I don't know if that's what everyone's thinking. I think that we're ruled by idiots and cretins and morons and animals, and they want battle, they want to fight. So that's what we're going to get. Vladimir Putin is like a mobster. He's like treating the world like a ghetto. He's like got a tracksuit on. He's like shaking down businesses. And America is like Trump, like an orangutan or like a gorilla just beating its chest. Trump energy, and Biden is just like George Bush, like masked aggression behind like bureaucracy, and old white men in suits is like bloodthirsty and like a chimp or like a gorilla banging on his chest. And I just think that if we were in high school, we're ruled by the football players and the jocks instead of the nerds and the theater kids and the chess club. And I think that if the drama club was in charge, the people that are more intellectual, that the world would be a better place. But there's a disadvantage to being a theater kid, and it's that you are lacking in the ability to commit violence. And if violence is on the table, then the more violent people are selected for in whatever game that you're playing. So we just need to like dial down the temperature on violence and not make violence such an advantageous thing to utilize, and then the world will be a better place. Then we could talk this out and be like, what do you really want with Ukraine? What do we want with Ukraine? What do we all really want? And we should just like talk to each other and figure out what we're doing and not try to kill each other and starve each other economically. Aren't old white men in suits giving you the opportunity to do comedy? They're also preventing a lot of people from doing comedy. They set the numbers up so that only a few people can obtain the right to do comedy. But yeah, I mean, I guess they allow everything. But I mean, I live in a van, so I don't know if they allowed me or if I did it myself in flagrant disregard to their norms and their traps. Violence is inherent in humans, so is cooperation. I'm buying the Russian Comrade NFT. Holders' lives will be spared when Putin invades. Yeah, you'll have to present blockchain verified passcode. I think violence should be avoided. I think it's I think it's America is definitely not chill. If you were Russia, you wouldn't be in a very friendly mood. I think that America is also trying to get Ukraine to join the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, the NATO. So that's kind of seen as an aggressive move. It's just it's threatening America after Russia was defeated in the Cold War. They were not very friendly to that country. They let it fall into disrepair, and it was clear that it wasn't really about freedom or the right thing to do. It was a petty spiting of Russia and, like fucking them up. And like just they're like, we don't care about you. We didn't want to free you from communism. We wanted to punish you for trying it. And so after they were like, okay, we'll do what you want, they weren't treated very well, and then the country fell into the hands of the mobsters and the crazy people like Putin. And why would they trust us? Why we didn't treat them very well? So like they have no incentive to be nice to us. And then it's like, well, if we're on our own, let's just get Putin and have him battle the fucking other people. So that. But yeah, I mean, I wish that after the Cold War, we were like, okay, you relented, you surrendered. Here's like a lot of shit that you were missing out on, and here's we'll help you along. And instead that didn't happen. They were just left to fend for themselves, and maybe that would have been seen as interference and intervention. But yeah, I mean, after years, decades of like fucking with Russia for no reason during the Cold War, just because they were trying a new system of government, and we really hated that. They were like advancing past the founding fathers. We were like, they probably don't like us anymore that much because we were really mean to them. Putin, yeah, I mean, and then like it all became about like the oligarchs and the capitalists, and now they're capitalists, and like a small group of people rule over the country. I mean, I'm sure Russia's a good doing economically, like right alongside. I would say right alongside Spain. Maybe they have a larger economy than Thailand. I think South Korea has a larger economy than Russia. I mean, during communism, they were second place. So, I mean, if capitalism's so awesome, why is Russia doing worse under capitalism? If you think Russia didn't have subs off us, U.S. waters, you are misinformed about the Cold War. Why did they have those subs there? Who started the aggression? Were the Russians like, America, you have too much freedom. We're going to fucking put subs right by your waters? Or was America like, this is dangerous. We can't have this spreading. Let me meddle with the elections in Greece and Italy to make sure communism doesn't become a democratically accepted thing. Let's make sure that even though the people might want communism, that it never happens. Yeah, I mean, it was like an ideological thing. We didn't want people to find a new system of government. Communism, socialism isn't noble because humanitarian is an advertised virtue. Well, just because you're advertising it doesn't mean that you're not doing it. I look at it as there was a massive, dangerous, and bloodthirsty superpower that miraculously the U.S. managed to neuter without destroying the planet. Just because it wasn't perfect doesn't mean U.S. bad. Dangerous, bloodthirsty superpower. If you're looking for a bloodthirsty, dangerous superpower, I mean, America invaded a bunch of different countries in South America and Latin America and in Southeast Asia. Russia was not that imperialistic. America was they were conquering way more territory than Russia was. So if we were afraid of, a massive, dangerous, bloodthirsty superpower, why did we become it? But yeah, I mean, Russia was trying to get allies, like in Cuba and maybe the Congo, North Korea, China. I mean, China and Russia were never really great allies. But I guess they were trying to compete with America. Like America had Great Britain, they had France, they had Germany, West Germany anyways. They had Italy and Greece and Spain and all the allies, Japan and I guess China they didn't have, but they had like all of Europe allied against the Russians, and they had all the force in the world. That's where all the richest countries are, is Western Europe. And the Soviet Union was just this off in the hinterlands. But yeah, I mean, Russia and our history with them, I don't think that it was good that we fucked with them so heavily. I think that if we hadn't started the Cold War, that Russia at best would have, just sent space rockets into space, and a lot of their war crimes were in defense of like trying to work out how to battle America. I mean, the Holodomor was bad, but it wasn't like on purpose. It was like, I guess Stalin was a little paranoid of, I think it was Ukraine, and he was kind of careless with them, and that had dire consequences, and like millions of people died. But I think that that was like a mistake, and like that was like the growing pains of modernization and a new system of government. I think that Russia wouldn't have killed its own people to an extreme degree. And I think that like the worst that they would have done is like maybe had another famine, which they avoided after the Holodomor. But if you're looking for famine deaths, like the Great Bengal famine in India was pretty bad. I think a lot more people died in India under British rule because of profit-seeking resource distribution. They didn't have any reserves, so during like a rough harvest, like a whole shitload of people starved to death, and it happened over and over again. And like millions, hundreds of millions of, I think tens of millions, maybe 100 million, Indian people died because of British mismanagement and the potato famine. Um, Famines obviously are not ideal, and we should do our best to avoid it. But yeah, I mean, I don't think that there was a reason to fuck with Russia. I don't think that they had really any territorial ambitions. They were already pretty large, USSR, and they were invaded by Germany and they fought back. I don't think that they were a threat to the world. And if they were, antagonizing them probably made it worse. Um, I think that it's sad that Russia doesn't trust us and we don't live in a society where we're getting along, and it creates bad tension, and now they're trying to invade Ukraine or something. I mean, how many people are killed in America by our own people? How many people do we kill through poverty and neglect? I think that's a humanitarian crisis for sure. But yeah, I mean, maybe we just have a long-term way of doing things. Like it's like slower, but it's like a drip, and we don't really take care of our people. Russia has been trying to get Ukraine for years. Um, I give pretty good relationship advice. You know, like someone is like, "Oh, I'm with this girl and she's just like talking a lot and stuff," and I'm like, "Oh, have you tried talking a lot yourself? You know, fight fire with fire." That's what I like to do. I don't really respect the art form of talking, so it's like if you're doing it, then I'll just do it, and I don't care if I'm boring, because obviously you don't care if you're boring. It's all about like being able to do as much talking as possible to trigger the amount of rudeness the other person is most comfortable displaying to you, and just backing off of that and making it so that it's uncomfortable to disapprove, and that I don't know, a lot of people don't like the way that I talk to women. um, I I I don't know. I try to be nice, but like if they're mean to me, then I don't think it's wrong to respond in kind. But obviously, that's not the main focus when I talk to women, is to make sure that I hurt them as much as they hurt me. That's just like something, like a gear that I have that I try not to tap into in social situations, regardless of man or woman. But yeah, I mean, like if they're talking a lot, I think that's kind of a rude thing to do. So like then I talk a lot. Like yeah, I mean, if they're gonna talk, why shouldn't I talk? We're all talking now, right? Like, what, you think you're better than me? Um, and I can talk. We can all talk. But yeah, I think that it's important to have an equal exchange. And I think if one person tries to dominate and take up like 70, 80, 90% of the conversation time, that's really, really fucked up. I think that's a super rude thing to do, because then you don't let the other person think, and then it's just a competition and it ruins conversation. And I think that I think that I think it's a not polite thing to do to talk more than you're wanted to. And I think 50-50 is the norm, and if there's a slight fluctuation in that, that's fine. But I don't think that one person should be doing all the talking. I think that's really bad. And I think like if you make it about that and you just constantly compete with each other to see who can talk the most, then it just creates a hostile environment. And the quality of the conversation goes down as force and violence is selected for. And I think it's better to have like a more intellectual relationship where um, I think it's better to have like a conversation where like you're trying to strive for equality, and if they're stupid, then why are you with them? You shouldn't be with someone you're not willing to share half the conversation with. Um, and I think that yeah, I mean, it should be equal as much as possible. And if someone's just trying to dominate for the sake of dominating, that's really gross. I think what Hans is trying to say is women should know when men want them to talk and be quiet when it's out of turn. Or did I get that wrong? I mean, I don't think you have to make equality about force um, and unequalness and listening to one person over the other. I think it should be 50-50, and you should listen to the other person equally as much as you're talking. And I think that if you are unaware of what the person opposing you, or not opposing you, but the opposite of you, is feeling and what they might want, then what are you doing? Why are you talking if it's not to impact the person in front of you? If it's just to hear yourself talk, then you can do it on your own, um, or have an outlet that's healthier. But obviously, this isn't a woman thing. I mean, men like to talk over people all the time, and it's super, especially American men. And I'm not saying that women are over talkers, although sometimes they are. But I'm just saying, like American men, it's like a bit about ego. It's like I should get to be the one that talks because I can physically enforce it, and I am also the most important, smartest, funniest person here, and I think that's gross. But yeah, I mean, this isn't just about men and women. I think, yeah, you should be paying attention to what the other person wants from you. And I don't think that means that you're just doing whatever the man tells you to do. I think it means that you're responding to the environment that you're in instead of doing whatever you want. Because that requires no discipline, and even a child can do that, where they just say whatever the fuck they want. And that's not something that you should do unless it's wanted. You shouldn't force that on people, and you should be more aware of people around you and appreciate them and speak in a way that they want to hear. Um, but yeah, I mean, also you need to express yourself and not be so Asian and just be shy and quiet and just only say things um, whenever you think like the group approves, but also to just like express yourself. And I feel like conversation and talking is like a diode, and everyone is like a diode that is like uh, it's like a diode that represents whether the subunit is feeling, like what each graphic card is feeling. So if like graphic card A feels happy and sad, and then graphic card B feels nervous and anticipatory. So it's like everyone should like speak, like everyone that each diode should like click off, and some people have more to say, some people have less to say. But I think when you try to like take more than you're comfortable with, or you think that you are a guy that talks, that needs to take more of the conversation than is necessary, then I think that I think then it becomes grating and difficult to stop. Because then you have to be rude to stop the person being rude, which is an even bigger thing, to be rude to someone rather than talk too much. So then it becomes like you become the asshole. Um, have you ever tried listening 100% of the time, including what you're saying? I don't know why you're including what I'm saying. If I'm listening 100% of the time, then I wouldn't be saying anything, so I wouldn't be able to include it. I like it when that. Okay, so yeah, um, everyone has their own tolerance for rudeness, but we all have the capacity to observe and pick up cues and figure out where each person's rudeness level is. I have obviously been rude to people, and without knowing or with flagrant disregard to the cues they were sending out, and maybe I could do a better job in the future. I always strive to do a better job, and I wish everyone would too, because I don't think a lot of people are trying. I don't think they're even aware of it, where they can talk too much. They're like, oh, that's not a thing. It's impossible for me to talk too much, so let me just not try at all. So yeah, I mean, I just wish that some people were aware that nobody, I'm not like, except for Joe Rogan, I'm never like, oh, I just want to hear this person talk and talk and talk. The only person that I do that for is Joe Rogan and Tony Hinchcliffe, people that I respect. But people just think that they have that when they haven't done the work that Tony Hinchcliffe or Joe Rogan have done. And like some people have like a lot to say. Um, and that's fine, but it seems like a lot of people just want to be the guy that takes up a lot of time in the conversation. But yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm Asian. I'm gonna say that the Asians malfunction in another way, which is where we don't say anything at all, and then we don't actually say what we want to say, and then we never express ourselves. That's sad. Versus when people justify the rudeness by always being brutally honest, in quotes. Yeah, I mean, that's a cover for a lot of people. They're like, I'm not rude, I'm just speak my mind. Well, a child can do that. A child can observe shit. It's how you convey it to other people that matters. If you aren't good at conveying shit, then your brutal honesty is wasted and it serves no function because people are going to ignore you. It does nothing to you. Its observations are the first step, and then the second step is communication, and you've only worked on the first step and haven't done anything about the second step. But yeah, I mean, obviously I'm talking about someone specific here. Truly being brutally honest is when you ask for permission first. Okay, so anyways, I'm hungry. I'm probably gonna eat soon. I might try to do 3 more minutes to hit 2 hours. Yeah, let's just do 3 more minutes, just like I'm exercising and I want to bust out a couple more reps. Um, so this is just like exercise for me. Like I'm hard at work right now, thinking of something to say just to fill time so that I can fill up 2 hours and feel good about myself because I hit an arbitrary number. Um, it's weird how if that second was a little shorter or a little longer, how different the world would be. But for some reason, it's the way it is, and I wonder if the person that invented how long the second was like, this is gonna change everything. A second is this. Oh my God, it's so whatever. To value listening more than speaking. Read somewhere where they say it's an Eastern philosophy that in listening more than speaking. Yeah, I mean, it's good if you want to create like a large agrarian society. It's bad if you want to create a lot of, like conquerors who are going to cough on a bunch of Native Americans and take over the world. But also it's like we need the American individualism to bring out the best in individuals, which is how the base unit of humanity is individual. And if we strengthen the base unit, then the whole becomes greater. So we need to also focus on the individual. And that's something that I don't think Asian cultures do that well. They just look at the individual as like a thing to be turned into a math machine. And like, I mean, it'd be great if we had a great education system and we knew exactly how to educate children, but it's just we don't have like a great way of knowing like what's best for a kid. And I think that I am happy. I think I think that if we knew exactly how to train a kid, then it would make sense to educate them like crazy. But now, like, to make them learn math and like, bullshit and like memorize a bunch of bullshit, like that's not a great way to use a human mind. And I think that Asians are wasting a lot of human potential making them into graphing calculators instead of making them into something more unique and creative. And yeah, I mean, it just deadens the soul. to like do math all day. And we need kids to be out and playing and learning social things instead of just sitting in a room and getting really good at sitting in a room for 8 hours. I think that ruins the body too. But yeah, I mean, we should treat people better. But I mean, that's what we had to do to get out of the fucking whatever. We had to like just be like, everyone get together and fucking do this shit, get really good at economy, and as soon as the economy is good, we'll fucking pull out and gracefully land. But then we never did that. We just keep competing because like we're in the loop. All right, I'm done. Um, Thank you guys so much. I'll see you guys later.